Hello and welcome. You're watching Don Bosco Media Network. This is Abigail Carmelim bringing to you the Salesian news across the globe. The animation visit of the Rector Major Father Angel Fernandez Artime to the West United States Province SUO concluded on Sunday, 20th November, Solemnity of Christ the King. The last stop on this journey for the Rector Major was the Church of Corpus Christi in San Francisco, a parish community which was presented to the Rector Major as a Salesian parish of immigrant families. As soon as Don A.F. Artime climbed the steps of the church and was embraced by a crowd of happy children who waved little flags, and immediately the whole neighborhood was filled with music and joyful songs to welcome the 10th successor of Don Bosco. Already from the beginning of the Mass, the church was completely full and many had to remain standing because there were no more places to sit. During the introduction, the Rector Major underlined how much the Salesians loved that people had come to stay with them instead of frequenting other parishes on that Sunday of Christ the King. The presence of such a large crowd is in fact testimony to the enormous gratitude of the people of God through the gift of Don Bosco, represented by his 10th successor at the head of the congregation. The 12th provincial chapter of the Salesian Vice Province of Southern Africa AFM concluded on November 17. During this time, the 15 chapter members reflected on the theme "Which Salesians for Today Suit" and the GC28 guidelines. The invited members, 17 in total, included representatives from the Parish Pastoral Council, Cooperating Salesians, SYM Youth, Missionary Sisters of Mary Help of Christians and FMA. The Salesian Province of South Korea, KOR, led by Provincial Father Timothy Choi, organized a symposium to mark the 400th anniversary of the death of St. Francis de Sales. The event involved the whole Salesian family and was shared by the local church in various ways. The symposium was held in the KOR Provincial House, organized by the Don Bosco Youth Spirituality Research Center, directed by Father Moses Yund, and involved 100 people in attendance and others who connected through the SDP Korea YouTube channel. The figure of St. Francis de Sales, 1567 to 1622, was presented against the current backdrop of our post-COVID times, with a threefold focus on the pastoral, educational and spiritual impact of the Salesian saint. Among the 6 speakers was the Auxiliary Bishop of Seoul, Monsignor Job Kujobi, in charge of consecrated life, Father Hyont Yongjun, Dean of the Faculty of Theology at Catholic University, Father Moses Yunman Gyond, SDB, Professor at Catholic University, Miss Kim Yong Lee, Professor of Catholic University, Miss Lee Mi Yong, Director of the Center for Theological Research, and Professor Celestino Yund, Salesian Cooperator, former Provincial Coordinator. A final panel discussion with all speakers present was moderated by Don Bosco Park, SDB. In addition to highlighting the person, spirituality, pastoral, charity and pedagogical contribution of the Savoyard saint, the speakers focus on the current impact and resourcefulness of his spirituality for the laity, for education and for spirituality in the Korean Catholic Church during this post-COVID time. On November 15 to 17, 2022, at the Salesian Polytechnic University, Quito campus, the 5th Congress on Salesian Education was held on the theme Youth Associationism and Social Educational Transformation for Sustainable Development. 8 keynote lectures, 60 academic papers and 5 books were presented to an audience of more than 500 students, faculty, researchers and academic authorities from Salesian institutions of higher education IUS in Argentina, Chile, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, El Salvador, Spain and Ecuador. The opening session was attended by Father Juan Cardenas, Rector of the University, Mario Olmos, Coordinator of the IUS of America and Rector of the Universidad Don Bosco in El Salvador, Angela Flores, Academic Vice Rector, Maria Sol Villagomez, Vice Rector of the Quito campus, Fernando Moscoso, Vice Rector of the Cuenca campus, Daniel Lanos, Director of Education and Coordinator of the Congress, as well as other university authorities connecting online. After a month of patient waiting, the Salesian community in Mongolia celebrated the canonization of the first Salesian coadjutor, Saint Arteme Zati. On Saturday, November 19th, at the Cathedral of Saints Peter and Paul in Ulaanbaatar, all members of the Salesian presences in Mongolia, both Salesians of Don Bosco and Daughters of Mary Help of Christians, along with their youth and mission collaborators, gathered to celebrate and honor Saint Artemide Zati. The event began with a talk by Father Paul Leong, SDP Provincial Delegate of Mongolia, who explained the concept of holiness, which was followed by a solemn Eucharist presided over by Cardinal Giorgio Marengo, IMC Apostolic Prefect of Ulaanbaatar. The celebration was full of symbols and decorations, and a Salesian dressed as Artemide Zati with a bicycle walking among the participants to help them learn more about the figure of the new saint. After Mass, there was a screening of a film about Saint Zati subtitled in Mongolian and cultural presentations. Many people were invited to share with the Salesian family, most of them children, youth and adults from Salesian parishes, Don Bosco Oratory and social works. The Catholic community of the Apostolic Prefecture of Mongolia was represented by many religious and faithful, about 300 people, who joined the celebration of the canonization of Saint Zati with great enthusiasm. So viewers, with that we have come to the end of today's edition. Till we meet again, thank you for joining us.